other one is adaptation, where we just don't care. We just say that, okay, fine, whatever happens, happens. I don't care about it. But we are all interested in mitigation. That's the reason why we have met here. Certain things I would like to share with you, that you also start talking to your children. Children at home, whether it's a school or a college or a university, certain concepts are so rigidly built in that we classify everything in the ecosystems as living and non-living. We call air as non-living. Absolutely nothing wrong. You call it by any name. And then we call ourselves as living. Fair enough. But we forget to tell our children that if you remove the non-living air from our body, we become non-living. That I hope you are able to understand. Water is non-living. We are living. Remove the non-living water from my body, I become non-living. So the relationship between living and non-living is inseparably interrelated and interacts upon each other. Along with that, we include the space at the fire, and we call it as the Panchabhutas in our culture. This is the magic word today, ECO. Eco means, simple meaning is home, H-O-M-E. It's derived from a Greek word O-I-K-O-S, which in Greece is pronounced as echo. And in Greek language, echo means home. So if I study the home, it is ecology. If I evaluate the home, it is economy. Logi is study, nomi is numbers. The problem today is a clash between ecology and economy. And in this clash, something burns. And what burns is ecology, because people want only economy. People want only economy. Please also understand, before we go into the nuances of soil, the importance of biodiversity. Especially I'm talking biodiversity because this year is considered to be the year of biodiversity. Celebrate biodiversity. And we, India, we are already very rich in biodiversity. We have beautiful flowers, we have beautiful birds, we have magnificent animals, we have variety of vegetables. We have so many varieties of vegetables that in each type of vegetable, we have several varieties within it. So if you take tomato, we have several types of tomato. You take katrika, you have several types of katrika. So you have so many varieties in each. That is where this concept comes in, because some questions have been asked about nativity and other things. Now, this is our native cattle, Bos indicus. The other one is Bos taurus. Taurus, as you all know, is a zodiac sign. So a foreign cow is called as, a Western cow is Bos taurus, an Indian cow is called as Bos indicus. Bos is a generic name. Of course, the new classification is Bos taurus, taurus, and Bos taurus indicus. The difference you can easily see here, that the Indian cow would have a cow or a bull, the cattle would have a hump, which will be absent in the Western cattle. And there will be a long hanging chin, which is absent in the case of Western cattle. So if one is Desi, the other becomes Pardesi. This is a basic difference between the two. If you ask me, is there a difference between the dung from a Desi cow and a Pardesi cow? Then we have analyzed all the dungs possible, because I was heading the Department of Biotechnology. And to my knowledge, even the Western cattle brought by farmers and reared by farmers in India are not done with stall feeding. They are allowed to graze. They are fed with all sorts of materials which are fed for the normal cow. So the dung has the similar type of microorganisms. Quantitatively, it may vary, but qualitatively, it is the same. Please understand that. So don't worry about it. And second thing is, people talk about A1 milk and the A2 milk. Both the cows give both A1 and A2. The proportion of A2 is more in the Desi cow. Please understand these concepts. Right. That is our buffalo, Bos bubalis. Please, in spite of saying that we are going to be interested in biodiversity, understand this concept of Bellsville sperm sexing technology. It's Bellsville sperm sexing technology. This is a new technology where they would like to see to it that the cattle will not produce male calves. So only female calves will be produced. only female calves will be produced. So for that, what they're trying to do is collect semen from the bulls and pass through a special technology where the Y chromosomes, the sperms carrying Y chromosomes, will be eliminated. So only sperms with X chromosomes, which will produce female calves alone, they alone will be introduced through straws in artificial fertilization, so that they'll produce only cows. And India has also become party to it. It has already been commissioned in India, and they started doing research on this. So gradually, our gene pool, on one side we say celebrate biodiversity, on the other side, we are not bothered about our gene pool. We would like to eliminate most of the genes because the same straw, the straw from the same bull, will be used on several cows. That's poultry. And for your information, this is our poultry, which unfortunately today we call it as country chicken. We call it specifically as country chicken. We forgot that this is our native chicken. And we call this Mediterranean breed, Leghorn, as our chicken. This chicken, when I was young, in 70 days would stand in attention. Whereas in today's chicken, in 48 days, stands in stand at ease, unable to bear its own weight. It's just because of the excessive use of hormones and antibiotics. There are so much of hormones being introduced, which you can see here. It's being pumped in, continuous pumping in. And the same thing with the fish. If you take about fish, because some of you in farming may also like to have a pond and may also like to have fish with you. And among the freshwater fish, we always prefer the three varieties, the katla, the rohu, and the mrigal. Now, why should we prefer these three varieties? Please look at it carefully as a farmer. If you look at the katla, the mouth is facing up. If you look at the rohu, the mouth is facing in the middle. Whereas if you look at the mrigal, the mouth is facing down. Are you able to see it? So what happens? Within the same pond, katla eats from the top, rohu eats from the middle, that is a column, and mrigal eats from the base. So there's no competition between them and there's no fight between them. This is called as niche specialization. This is called as niche specialization. The same way as we do for the sake of crops as well, even for animals, we prefer to have this sort of a companion cropping. In the same way, we have companion fishing where we are able to grow it. Kindly give me just a second. I'll just send word for this neighboring house. I have requested them to stop it. Just a minute. Just.
I just wanted to check the voice was good in the beginning. Now it is very, it's not very clear. My network is good. Any issues could be?
I was able to hear. I'm not sure if others are facing the same problem. There's a little bit of a background noise there. That's what he's trying to fix.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine for us.
Fine for us too, for me too.
We'll just wait. I think there's some construction one going on at his neighbor's place. So he's trying to get that done. So just hang on for a little bit, please. Yes, Subodh, you raised your hand, you can
Are we
unmute
getting
yourself.
this recorded? Any link can be shared later?
Yeah, it's actually live streaming on YouTube. So that will become available later on as well.
Oh, that's great. Then I can catch up if any miss it anything. Thanks so much.
Yeah. So good, but it's a lot of fun to see a lot of familiar faces here. For example, Subodh sells his rice and masoor dal all the way from Bihar on Farmuzon, right? So I see a bunch of our farmer partners, etc., here as well. So it's good fun. I see some of our customers also here and things like that.
Yeah, Shamik, thank you so much. I'm new to Farmazon and really enjoying it. It's just been 2 or 3 orders that I've placed with you guys. And now, with this thing, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. Once again, just getting a call from him. Hello. Yeah, would you be able to? You can click on the link and.
I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. Please click on the link and join back in. Okay. He should be back on any minute.
You have to again allow me as co-host, please.
Yeah.
Shamik?
Yes. Just doing that.
Please allow me as co-host, please.
Yeah. Just a second. Yes. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. My apologies to all of you, please. My apologies. I had to go and stop that noise which was coming from my neighbor. In spite of my request, they were not till we go and pressurize them. Yeah, that's what happens. And anyway, now fish, as far as marine fish is concerned, these are our very common fish over there. Please understand these concepts very well. Please understand these concepts. I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not here to create any fear in you. I'm just trying to tell you what's happening around us. Now, these are the common fish over here, but we are importing a lot of fish. So most of the restaurants which sell you fish is this fish, which is imported from Indonesia and Thailand. Now, this is a catfish whose skin is removed, the bones are removed, the fillet are processed chemically. And this chemically processed fillet are frozen. It comes over here, and because I am in Chennai, this is sold for about 290 to 300 rupees a kg, right? Whereas our Indian fish costs around 400 to 500 rupees a kg. Now, this is what most of the restaurants buy, and they serve you beautifully with a platter, and you think that is the best fish. I'm not against eating fish. What I'm trying to tell you is next time you go to a restaurant, buy a fish which has bones in them. Please understand these nuances which are happening around us. On one side, we are talking about celebrate biodiversity. On the other side, we are not concerned about our biodiversity. And the moment you want anything organic to go into the soil, people have a sort of a wrong concept that only ash is good. So what they do is they bring in ash. To ash, you bring any municipality waste, burn on it. Burn on it. It's ash. But what burns is important. In many of the farms, I have seen what they are burning. And this is what burns. And when this burns, dioxin goes inside and contaminates the entire system. Right? Trees. Please concentrate on agroforestry. I'm trying to touch upon all the aspects. I'm not going to very much details into everything. Please understand that trees give us all these components. Yes, apart from this, children who are attending my meeting today, please, children, understand that each one of us at an average inhale 550 liters of oxygen. 550 liters of oxygen. And today's cost of oxygen, 2.75 liters, is 6,500 rupees. So each one of us per day are inhaling around 13 lakh rupees worth of oxygen. 13 lakh rupees worth of oxygen you and I are inhaling every day. One tree produces about 24 crore rupees worth of oxygen per year. This is called as ecological economics. Any of you kids who are doing your university education and working towards environment, kindly understand that today we have to talk in terms of money to make people realize that how important this is, how important these natural things are. Unfortunately, we look at trees in this way. That is, if I cut it, how much money I would get. I have traveled almost the whole world. Nowhere have I seen people cutting down trees for the sake of laying a road. They see to it, they either transplant them or they try to protect them. But we very harmoniously cut down all the trees. And once the trees are cut, and when the rain comes, the topsoil flows away. The topsoil flows away. And please understand that this topsoil which goes into the sea, nature to generate 1 inch of topsoil, 1 inch of topsoil at an average takes 250 to 400 years. 250 to 400 years. And we just allow this soil to go away. And that is topsoil. And this is how our topsoil becomes. No life into it. I happened to meet this farmer in Madanapalli. Very interesting anecdotes I would like to tell before I tell you why we should do all this. Now, this particular farmer, when I visited his farm, lovely tomato farm, beautiful tomato farm, and the border crop is marigold. Border crop is marigold, excellent marigold. And marigold is an excellent pest repellent. So in your gardens, please have marigold plants with you. Marigold plants protect your major plants from pests. That's the reason why we use these flowers in very important places, including the temples. Right? So I complimented him. But he looked at me and said, Adapo Sami. I said, why, Pa? He said, no, I grow these flowers to give it to a temple, which gives me money, double. So I asked him, what do you do for your tomatoes? He said, I use endosulfan for tomatoes. Can you imagine what is being used on tomatoes? Of course, India is going to ban, but we have still not gone into complete ban. Now, endosulfan is one of the most corrosive pesticides, which corrodes the hand of the person who uses them. Not only that, this is what the endosulfan can do. In fact, many of the farmers who use endosulfan, their hands, their feet, and everything gets completely affected by this. And Kerala people already know what happened because of endosulfan. Please understand, especially I'm addressing the university going students and people who are working in these fields, that most of the research data is an extremely biased data. Yes, because when I want to do an experiment using animal models to find out how bad the pesticide or anything chemical is, then I always prefer male animals. I don't take female animals. Because male animals, there is no menstrual cycle, which in animals, mammals, we call it as the estrous cycle. So the hormonal fluctuation does not take place. Hormonal fluctuation does not take place. That's the reason why we always prefer male animals. So all the experiments are based on male animals, but people who would suffer would be the females. Because their fluctuation of hormones can take it to the next level of or next generation. It can happen to anything possible. Fine. So we are predicting that by 2030, in India, we may have about 132 crore cancer patients. One more reason is most of these crops use some of the pesticides like glyphosate. Remember all these, please. Glyphosate, like the Roundup. Now, glyphosate, if you have sprayed glyphosate and if a pregnant cow eats that grass, then it can even go in for an abortion. Children, they can be exposed to different health effects. This I used to see in Chandigarh when I used to work with farmers in Punjab, but today I see this in Chennai. Children using inhalers. So all this happens because we have neglected our soil. So if I want to look at soil, what is soil? What is soil? Soil is food. Soil is food. So immediately people ask me whether soil has an age. How old is this soil? Does soil have an age? Soil has no age. Please try to understand that soil has no age. It is a rock that has the age. If you look at this old utensil, the instrument which we used to make idli, vada, all the batter, and if you understand that this base, consider the base as the rock. Please consider the base as the rock and the pestle which is used for grinding as weathering process, like air, rain, wind, everything, all those things, right? So the weathering process keeps on acting on the rock every day, just like this. And every day, soil is gradually produced. Every day, soil is gradually produced. So soil has no age. Every day, soil is produced, but little quantity, very little. So it takes almost 250 years to 400 years to completely develop 1 inch of topsoil. So soil is very important for us because no soil, no food, right? There's a reason why 2015 was declared as International Year of Soils. In India, of course, we respect our soils, but suddenly the Westerners suddenly understood that the soil is important. And when we talk about soil again, all these books published for university education describe soil as a mineral matter. That is where when my research started, and I started working on it. Much literature, I have published it in Tamil books over here. And according to my view was that soil is a living organism. So when I started discussing soil as a living organism in very major institutions, the challenge was they asked me, a living organism should have a digestive system. If you find an animal lying dead on the surface of the soil, you're walking on the road and you find that an animal lying dead on the surface of the soil. 1 day, 2 days, then it starts stinking terribly. Whereas if I dig a pit in the soil, put the dead animal, bury it, I don't get the smell. I don't get the smell. Is it clear? So what is happening inside? Sir, it's getting completely decomposed. Now, who is doing it? Microorganisms are doing it, like bacteria, fungi. Yes, bacteria are doing it. Very good. Now, who is there in our intestine? Your intestine, my intestine? Microorganisms. So if they are present in our intestine and do the job, we call it as a digestive system. Logically speaking, I can say that soil has a digestive system. They ask me whether soil has a respiratory system. Just like you and I take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. In the same way, soil takes in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So soil logically has a respiratory system. Then they ask me whether it has a circulatory system. See, supposing you are walking on the road and you did not notice a big stone over there or a rock over there, and you hurt your leg. You hurt your leg terribly. You went to a doctor. The doctor prescribed a tablet. Would you put the tablet in your mouth or would you feed the tablet to your leg? Mouth. Now, how does the medicine reach your foot or the toe? It's the blood which carries it. Clear? Perfect? Yes. At home, you have plants. That's the reason you are attending this meet today. Do you pull up your plant every day and feed the root? No. You put water, you put manure, you put anything you want on the top of the soil, and things percolate and go over there through channels created by soil organisms. So logically speaking, soil has a circulatory system. They ask me whether soil has an excretory system. Just like you and I, we visit the restroom because we have to give out our urine, and urine has a lot of ammonia in it, urea in it. We throw out urea, and urea is a salt. And because we don't want that salt, we go and throw it out. In the same way, a good soil or a soil which has more amount of salt in it, the salt is brought up and thrown outside. If you have noticed saline soils, you will find salt on the top of the soil, not inside the soil. Is that clear? So logically speaking, soil has an excretory system. Then they ask me whether soil has a reproductive system. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all know about in vitro fertilization or test tube baby. Now, whatever it may be in the hospital, whether we are able to, have the zygote fertilized. You take the ovum, you take the sperm, you have the zygote fertilized. The zygote cannot be kept in an electric incubator. It has to be implanted into the uterus of a mother. Only then the zygote will grow. Only then the zygote will grow. Is that clear? Your tissue culture plants, some of them have asked me whether hydroponics, aquaponics, all these are limited systems which can function at high cost in in an isolated area. But predominantly, these tissue culture plants have to be planted in the soil for the plant to grow. So soil logically has a reproductive system. The peak came to me was when they asked me, all okay, professor, but does soil have a brain? Now, that is the day I recollected even my school teacher who told me that I have soil in my head because I could not understand mathematics. So he used to tease me that you have only clay in your head. Wish I could meet my teacher today. I would tell him, thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the compliment. Because my research tells soil has a brain. If you dig a pit and put any biomass into it, it may be leaf litter or dung or anything, it will completely get composted or decomposed. But if you put a seed into it, it will germinate. A soil knows what to decompose and what to germinate. Beautiful soil, right? This lovely soil is completely covered by a variety of organisms, which you can read it for yourself. Or you can take a screen picture and keep it for yourself. There are a variety of organisms. And in these organisms, these two are very important. In some ecosystems, earthworms do the job. In some, termites do the job. Both do a wonderful job. We don't like termites because they eat away our doors and windows. And the major difference, in fact, some scientists wanted to produce vermicompost, just like vermicompost from earthworms. Vermus means worm. Similarly, termites, vermicompost. The problem is earthworms, if they eat 100 units of food, they give away 80 units of value in their castings. Whereas termites, when they eat 100 units of food, they take for themselves 80 and give away 20 units in the compost. That's the reason why vermicompost could not become. But in a natural ecosystem, they do a commendable job. Also understand that any soil should have air in it, should have water in it, should have mineral particles and other essential things into it. Air is important. Please remember, air is important. So those who set up pots and carry whether it is plastic bags or grow bags at your homes, gradually, if your soil becomes very compact, your plants may not grow properly. There should be at least minimum aeration process, that is loose soil, and there should be water into it, right? And there should be organic matter in the soil. Normal average required for our country, like India, for our temperature, for our humidity, is 2 to 5%. Unfortunately, today's average is 0.4%. 0.4%. We got to improve it. Now, this is where I always try to tease people that, we always talk about mitti ki khushbu, that is soil fragrance. Does the soil have smell? मिट्टी की खुशबू होती है क्या? बिल्कुल नहीं होती है. There's no smell. No smell for the soil. You take soil, dry it in the sun for 2-3 days, smell it, no smell. Immediately you may say that when it rains, I get that beautiful smell. Yes. But right from school, our teachers have told us that water is colorless, tasteless, odorless. So water also has no smell. Soil has no smell. Water has no smell. Chitra ma'am, can you please mute your mic, please? Chitra ma'am, koncham unga mic koncham, yeah, mute pannunga. Thank you. Right. So what happens is when water has no smell, but soil has.
Kalama. Ayu illa appa enna night saapda mudiyadhu podum. Podum. Na night la all palme saapidta gunda.
Can you mute me?
You saapda kuda.
One second.
Wait poduvanga. Kaalayila saapidala.
Can you mute? Please excuse me.
You mute all. I will release myself. Shamik, you mute all. I will release myself.
Okay. One second. Where do I go to mute all?
அம்மா நீங்க வாழைப்பழ ராத்திரியில சாப்பிடுங்க, சாப்பிடாம இருங்க, எனக்கு எல்லாமே கேக்குதும்மா. Thank you. I don't know. Anyway. Unfortunately, today, most of the states, the Haryana, Punjab state, Madhya Pradesh, and the eastern, our belt like Andhra, Karnataka, everything is lacking in organic carbon. Important. And many soils can be called as saline soils or sodic soils. This is the major difference in it. Sodic soils have too much of sodium in it, whereas the general soils have all the combination of salts in it, right? And sodic soils are slowly becoming dominant in our country. I'm not going to the details here. But in case your soil is a sodic soil, in case your soil is a sodic soil, and if your soil looks like this, don't worry about it. Now, these sodic soils usually have this sort of a profile. I'm talking to you with my own experiments, which we have done in Uttar Pradesh in those days. Now, this type of a soil also, with the help of local worms, with the help of manure, with the help of organic inputs, can be converted with micro niches and gradually converted into this type of a soil. It is the same land which you saw as sodic soil can convert into this soil. It's interesting, but it took a lot of time for me, but it is possible. In fact, China wants to do it in a big scale. In fact, this year I should have been helping them, but due to these problems today, we won't be able to. But there's so much of sodic soil over there, and there's a lot of scope for them to convert. And they work very, very, at the grassroots level, and they would be able to do it. Now, in case you have a soil, and you do not know the composition of your soil, if you open any book or Google Uncle, they would immediately tell you, go through this percentage. Take your soil, dry it, sieve it, classify it. You will come to know about your soil. But please don't go into these details. Just take a little bit of soil, put it in a glass tumbler, transparent tumbler, glass or transparent plastic or a bottle, transparent plastic bottle, and add water to it, mix very well and leave it for about an hour or 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Gradually, it will settle down. You will know what is the quality of your soil. How much of gravel is there? How much of sand is there? How much of clay is there? How much of water stands on the top? And on top of it, the humus which is there. If you're very particular, you can weigh 100 grams of soil, put it, and keep your centimeter graph sheet on the next, and you can also calculate the percentage, and you will know whether your soil is clay loam or loamy clay or sandy loam or soil silt loam. Anything you can identify it. Not at all difficult. भाई ये थोड़ा मुश्किल है, ठीक है. So what can I do? I have a terrace garden. I don't want to go into all those details. How can I manage? Just take a little bit of soil in your palm. Little bit moist, okay? Not very wet, moist. Now take this soil between your finger and your thumb as a pinch and roll it into a thread. Please roll it into a thread. If the thread, like you're not able to make the thread at all, you're making the thread, it's breaking. That means it has too much of sand in it. You are making a thread and the thread continues to go. It's about 2 inches long. You're able to make a beautiful long thread of soil. That means your soil is clayey. You are able to make a thread, but after 1 inch, 1.5 inch, it breaks. 1 inch, 1.25 inch, it breaks. That means it is loamy soil, which is very good for your garden. Clear? So don't need to ask people. And if you have a farm, and if you have cattle over there, take a cow or a bull or a cattle or a calf for a walk. Let it drop its dung over there. Once it drops its dung, leave it there. Ask your people not to clear it. Just leave it there for 2-3 days. After 2-3 days, inspect the spot. If the dung becomes a dry cake like this, that means your soil is devoid of moisture, devoid of organisms over there. If the dung is completely broken down into small granules, that means your soil is moist and you have enough organisms over there to work on it. Take a stick, move the dung, you can see a lot of micro arthropods which will be working over there. So that's the beauty which you can identify yourself. You don't need some expert to come and tell you what type of soil it is. And if that sort of a soil is there, 1 spoon of soil has billions of bacteria and microorganisms in it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Now, this is the soil of a farmer from Karaikal, where he has a paddy field. And this is his paddy field. Now, what you find there is all vermicastings. So, all in situ fertilization. All in situ fertilization. See, whatever I may talk about vermicompost also in the next few slides, unless you get your native worms in your soil cannot be fertile. That's the reason I had used a statement. I'll talk to you about it later. Soil is the source of life, and we are trying to kill it. And we know about our love for cattle, right? In our love for cattle, we used to use cattle for plowing the soil. Once upon a time, we used to use cattle for plowing the soil. So when I plow the soil, at the same time, I used to make use of cow dung to make cow dung cakes, compost, and subsidiary was milk. Today, milk is given the main importance, and the rest has been moved. Then the biogas plants came in. And when this fellow came in, the tractor, we declared that animals are not necessary for us. So we told the animals, get out. We threw the animals out. The day we threw the animals out from our farming system, the starting of doom started on our agriculture and soils. Because once you remove the animals and tell them that we don't require them, tractor can plow the soil, but tractor cannot give us dung. Cannot give us dung or urine, right? When I use cattle and plow the soil, this is what happens. The soil comes up. It aerates the soil. When I use a heavy machine and plow the soil, in major portions or major chunks of the farm, I get compaction of the soil. When there is compaction of the soil air escapes. And when the soil's air escapes, the soil organisms die. And when soil organisms die and soil becomes compact, the roots cannot go inside, the plants are unable to grow properly. These are all a chain reaction. Please understand. Instead, what we do is we start dumping chemical fertilizers so that it should grow. I hope you're able to get these points, right? So people talk about soil fertility, and long back we started changing the nomenclature. The problem in my country is, even though I have been talking about this for donkey's years, I started this research in 78, 79, and made it public in 1991, 92 in big lectures. But unless the Western countries tell us, we don't accept it. People talk about soil fertility, but we change the nomenclature to soil health. Soil fertility, because today, if you take your soil sample, give it to any lab, whether it can be a soil testing lab or your Krishi Vigyan Kendra, they will analyze it and they will tell you the content of nitrogen, phosphate, potash, pH, electroconductivity, and then they will put recommendations. In the recommendations, they will write, add so much of nitrate, so much of phosphate, so much of potash. So fertility got related to fertilizers. That was the main aim of the introduction of Green Revolution. Whereas soil health is a holistic component. Jaisa mitti ki khushbu. So the entire health of the soil comes through that. And today, the nutrients in the soils have decreased so much that the food grown over there is lacking in nutrients. Please understand these concepts, because I know that major group of people who are growing plants are seated over there on the other side. I'm unable to see you, my apologies. I always prefer a physical classroom. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is, the government now says that they would like to fortify food grains. Rice will be fortified, wheat will be fortified, vegetables will be fortified. Nahi chahiye bhai. You take care of the soil will automatically fortify our grains. Unfortunately, we have not taken care of the soils, and our nutrient content started depleting since 1930 gradually. And after the introduction of the Green Revolution, there was a steep fall of nutrient content in our own crops. We eat food devoid of important nutrients. That is where this component came up. Vermitech. Vermi is derived from the word vermis. Vermis is earthworm. Tech is technology. Is it clear? So technology applying earthworms. And my research, I promoted this statement: earthworm is the pulse of the soil. Healthier the pulse, healthier the soil. Now, when I wrote this, one professor of zoology today in my FB page wrote, microarthropods are also important. I wrote back saying that I did not deny it. But please understand what I mean by this. If I happen to go to a doctor, what does the doctor first do? You go to a Vaid, you go to a Hakim, you go to a doctor. The moment you go there and you start narrating, without your own conscience, suddenly the doctor holds your hand and feels the pulse. And if the pulse is okay, the doctor says, you are fine, man. If the pulse is not okay, then you are prescribed a medicine. I call earthworm as a pulse because when I see an earthworm, I presume that all other organisms are present with the earthworm. Because earthworms are the most soft-bodied animals living in the soil. You know, the skin is so soft. They live happily. The moment they die, within few minutes, they are completely decomposed. So they produce certain substances which protects them. So you know about an insect, especially right from childhood, we have been seeing arthropods at home itself. No, yeah, what you take from the hair. I don't have hair, but what you pick from the hair for children, the small lice, head louse, and then they keep it on the nail, and they'll do kadak, kadak. So when you take an arthropod, it has a thick skeleton. The soft animal is the earthworm. So when the earthworm is there, I presume that all the microarthropods are there. All the other organisms are there. All the microorganisms are there. So that is the pulse of my soil. If I am able to dig my soil, so next time when you go to your farm, dig your soil. If you see earthworms, your soil is healthy. That is the pulse of the soil. And you know, like if you want to know about earthworms, there are more than 3,500 species of earthworms in the world. We can't remember their specific names. Impossible. Take away. Then how can I remember? Based on their function. The first group of earthworms live on the surface of the soil. Please understand this term, epigeic. Geic, G-E-I-C, is derived from the word geo, G-E-O. Geo, geography, geology. Geo means earth. Epi means above. So that which lives on the surface of the earth are epigeic earthworms. Those people who are doing farming, who have dumped cow dung and other resources in some corner, when you dig it or move it, you will find a lot of earthworms over there. They are epigeic earthworms. They are always accompanied by the second group of earthworms, and they are the anasic earthworms. Anasic means intermediate. Anasic means intermediate. They predominantly make vertical burrows. Predominantly. They also move on the sides, but predominantly they make burrows top to bottom. They create the circulatory system of the soil. The third group of earthworms live slightly deeper, and we call them as endogeic. Endo means inside. Inside what? Geic. Geic is earth. So those which live inside the earth. Three major categories, and they're under a restaurant. You see, what happens is, supposing I'm going traveling. Usually when you travel, no, the bus stops somewhere on the way at a restaurant, and people will be eating there frequently, and they'll be getting up, especially when you go from Delhi to Chandigarh, the dhabas, there's so much of rush over there. So you go and you occupy a seat. The table is dirty. First, one person comes and cleans the table. For convenience, let us call him as cleaner. For convenience, I'm not naming anybody, for convenience for you to understand. Let me call him as a cleaner. Fine, over. He cleaned. Next, one person comes. He asks you, "Kya lenge sab? What do you want to eat?" And you say, "I like to have a dosa," or "I like to have a chapati." Does he put the dosa? Does he make the chapati? No. He goes and tells another person, the master, who makes the dosa or the chapati. Does the master bring the chapati to you? No. Again, this person brings it back to you. So this person is the waiter who keeps moving up and down. And the cook is over there. Three categories. One person cleans, one person transports, one person makes. The same way, the endogeic worms, which keep moving up and down, loosen the soil and clean the soil. The anasic worms keep moving top to bottom as waiters, moving and creating channels, transporting nutrients, transporting water. And the cooks, the chefs, they are on the top, taking the litter, taking the dung, converting it into food. So if you have all the 3 varieties of worms, your soil is. If you have at least anisic type of worms, very good. Epigeic worms will be there only if you have enough mulch and enough amount of organic matter in the soil. Samajh mein aaya? For composting purposes, we use epigeic earthworms predominantly. Even anisic worms can do some amount of composting, so don't worry. Especially people living in South India, this epigeic Perionyx excavators, Perionyx sensibaricus, these species are available throughout India. It's pan-Indian. The first variety, epigeic, this variety. Perionyx excavators, Perionyx sensibaricus, they live together. This is pan-Indian. Anywhere you can find them. Lampitomorishi, predominant in South India. Those seniors who studied sciences, South Indian students, about 10, 15 years back, you would have studied this as Megascolex morishi. The same Megascolex morishi is today called as Lampitomorishi. The third variety is Octochetona thurstoni, which comes out. Is that clear? These are the 3 varieties of earthworms. Now, why I'm trying to promote local worms? Why are local worms important? Now, if you look at this particular worm, Octochetona serrata, look at it very carefully. Please look at it very carefully. You find calciferous glands, beautiful shining white. Usually, those people whose farms have red soil, you will find this pink-colored worm. This is pink-colored because their skin doesn't have pigmentation. So it's almost transparent. The red color of the blood is seen through the skin, and the worm looks like a pink-colored worm. Very simple to identify. And if you look at it carefully, you will find these glands, calciferous glands. Red soil is usually slightly acidic. Slightly acidic. So this worm takes in soil plus organic matter. All anisic worms are nammak halal worms. Let me be very careful with this word. Nammak halal. They always take our soil along with organic matter. They are very good worms. So when they take this acid-based soil through their mouth and goes inside, अरे आपको अगर acidity हो गई, if you get acidity, you immediately pop in a pill to neutralize it. In the same way, this one, when it consumes this acid soil, the calciferous glands, they pour calcium carbonate. They neutralize the soil. And this soil goes through the intestine and comes through outside as a balanced fertilizer, and the plants grow beautifully. Plants grow beautifully. That's the beauty of this. And this is what is the circulatory system. This is what is the circulatory system of the soil, where the soil, like earthworms keep moving and create this environment and carry the materials inside. This is how the earthworm works. There's the worm which is going to eat the food. The earthworm eats the food. These white globular structures are the gizzards which crush the food. The red ones are the heart. This crushed food goes into the stomach, which we call it as crop, where digestion takes place. And then it enters the intestine. Every segment has nephridia, kidney-like structures, which pour urea inside. So nitrogen plus carbohydrate comes out, carbon plus nitrogen, and the vermicompost is very important. That is the importance of vermicompost, nothing else. Okay? This is the life history of earthworms. The cocoon produces the juvenile. The juvenile grows into a non-clitellate. The non-clitellate grows into a clitellate. Ranjana ma'am, please close your mute also, please. The clitellate, once the clitellum comes, that means the worm has attained maturity. Both the worms then start mating and produce cocoon again. Normal life history is about 60 days, and one earthworm can live for about 1 year, average Indian earthworms. And in this 1 year, earthworm, their baby, together can produce about 1,000 worms, theoretically, not practically. And please understand that when you are mating earthworms are hermaphrodites. So if you want to do vermicomposting, They are hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodite means male and female present in every earthworm. So you don't need separate male earthworms and separate female earthworms. Please understand. Even though male and female is present in each earthworm, self-fertilization is not possible. So here is a picture which I took myself. Is you find that the one earthworm, its head is here, tail is on the other end. The other worm, the head is there, the tail is on the other end. They exchange their gametes. After exchanging the gametes, they produce cocoons. And from the cocoons, the young one is born this way. This is how the young earthworm is born. So that's the life of the earthworm. Okay? Okay. That's Perionis excavatus, which is a very good Indian earthworm for composting. This is Icenia fetida, which is also used with Icenia andri, which will not be so branded. These come as combinations. This is most predominantly used in North India to a large extent. This is also called as the European worm. This is also called as a red wriggler. The third earthworm is Euryalus eugenie, the African nightcrawler. This was brought in by a professor from Karnataka and introduced into India. Has been written by the author in, I don't want to name even the gender, in the book itself, published by the author. With whose permission it was brought in, I do not know, because this has become a pest today in South India. Anyway, now these are the worms which are today used for composting in South India to a large extent. Some questions are raised that Icenia fetida will produce heavy metals, that Euryalus eugenie will produce heavy metals. These are all heavily, wrongly biased interpretations with incomplete knowledge. What happened in early days was, in fact, when I started my composting work and I wanted to do a lot of research, in those days, there was a beautiful combination of Professor Hartenstein and Professor Neuhauser from Syracuse campus of New York, USA, working on these aspects. And we entered into a lot of correspondence. Of course, in those days, no email. All letters were typed and sent by post. And we were so fascinated with each other's work that they wanted me to go and work with them. But unfortunately, I did not have the money to travel. Everything else was provided. Travel was alone my responsibility. I did not come from an affluent background, so I did not have the money to travel. But that's all set aside. Now, those people were working on the trickling filter system, trickling filter systems in industries. So the effluent water coming from the industry goes through the trickling filter, and there you find a lot of Icenia fetida. I have seen this myself with my own eyes when I did my postdoc at UK much later. Now, when I saw these and tried to analyze them, because those worms live in the trickling filter system from where the effluents are going, these worms have heavy metals in them. Because worm doesn't produce heavy metals. What they consume, they produce. So heavy metals are sourced through the food which goes over there and not by the worm per se. So those of you who are already doing composting with these worms, and if you had that sort of a guilt feeling that whether there is a heavy metal in it, it all depends on the food you're going to give them. If you are sure that you're giving them the cow dung and organic material which is free from heavy metals, that means your compost is free from heavy metals. In which case, even we as human beings carry cyanide in us, we carry gold in us, we carry silver in us, but we don't burn human beings to trace gold, right? Remember that. Vermicomposting is very simple. You have to prepare the material. The material should lose its heat, get completely composted, and then you introduce the earthworms and place what? A cow dung cake on it. Cow dung cake is your variety. So once you keep a cow dung cake and you have worms into it, they start growing over there. Okay? Now, those of you who live in cities, and if you ask me, okay, sir, where do I get cow dung cake? Surprisingly, Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket sell cow dungs today. Look at who is selling cow dung and what is happening to our farmers, their revenue, how the economy from the village is being taken away. Please understand these concepts. Please understand. I want the younger group to understand all these concepts which are happening around us. Now, once the compost is produced, this is vermicompost. That's vermicompost for you. Take us up. How do I do all this process? If you have leaf litter with you, the more green the leaf is, it has more nitrogen in it. The more brown the leaf is, it has more carbon in it. That's why nature drops both varieties of leaves simultaneously. That's the reason why. Because it gets composted in situ. So when you are setting up a composting unit, please see to it that you have a combination of both the leaves. So how do I do it, sir? Initially, we call it as bio-dung, biomass being converted into dung-like structure. One Dr. Preeti Joshi had coined this term. So at the base, we give this sort of twigs so that aeration takes place to a height of about 9 to 10 inches. On top of it, we start putting the biomass. The better you shred the biomass, the composting will be faster. Because when I shred the biomass, the surface area increases. The surface area increases. And when the surface area increases, it becomes faster. Once I put the biomass, I must introduce microorganisms. Now, this is another business where people say that you buy something from me, only then it will compost. I don't want to name them at all. I am not here to blame anybody or name anybody. I am trying to talk to you as to what I have been doing all through my life and what I have been teaching my people. The basic, simplest thing which I use is cow dung. Take cow dung, dilute in water, sprinkle it. The dilution should be like a rasam, not like sambar. Sambar is thick. Rasam allows microorganisms to multiply faster. So I add this into it and slowly build up a unit. So my unit which I build up, the length can be of any convenient length. Any convenient length, you like it. The width, preferably 4 to 5 feet. The height, preferably 4 to 5 feet. You make the unit and then cover it with a loose polythene. Now, if you ask me, why do I need polythene? You don't need polythene. Don't need polythene. Why I use polythene is, Tamil Nadu is very hot. So it goes dry. So what I do is, when this is the compost heap, and gradually I put this on the top, heat is generated from inside. When you are all aware of it. Whether you have grass or cow dung or you leave it in a corner, it produces a lot of heat. So a lot of heat is generated from inside. This heat evaporates the water. So the water rises up, but is unable to escape. So water gets trapped under the sheet. Under the sheet. The same water in the evening, when it completely condenses, because of the cold weather, it condenses, goes back into the unit. So within 24 hours, what happens? The compost, the whole material, water keeps circulating inside. Wherever water goes, microorganisms follow. So gradually in about 3 to 5 days, the temperature goes up to 55 to 60 degrees Celsius if you have developed it properly. Here, one precaution, please do not use a mercury thermometer if you have it. Because mercury thermometers come with a glass container. So the moment you introduce the thermometer and if it breaks, you will be contaminating the entire pile with mercury, which is a heavy metal. There are probe thermometers available in the market, compost probe thermometers available in the market. If you want, you can use it. But what I suggest is just take a stick. Take a stick. Take a stick. Just push it inside the pile. Take a stick, push it inside the pile. After about 5 or 6 days, push it inside the pile till it goes to the middle of the pile. Leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes. That is after removing the cover. Of course, you don't push it through the cover, right? Remove the cover, push it inside the pile to the middle of the pile. Leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then slowly pull it out. Touch it with your hand. If the stick is warm, that means your composting pile is beautiful. If the stick is cold, your arrangement is wrong. Once this heat is gone, that is thermophilic phase, then starts reducing, goes back to mesophilic phase. It's about 12 to 15 days. So after 15 days, make a turnover. Because this heat is very important for me. This heat eliminates unwanted pathogens, eliminates unwanted insects, eliminates unwanted seeds. And after 15 days, ulat palat. When you do the ulat palat, steam comes out. Beautiful steam. Even this can be used for various purposes. And then you reset the unit, right? And when you reset the unit, after another 15 to 20 days, maximum 35, 40 days, the unit, the whole thing goes, psh. Take it, cool it. After cooling, introduce the earthworms. Many problem happened was you people put all the organic matter and also put the earthworms into it. The heat will kill the earthworms. What you are doing, you are cooking earthworm biryani. Yes. So please see to it that it should be cool. Supposing you ask me now, sir, I buy dung from somebody and then I want to have a vermicompost unit. I do not know whether it has been composted. Can I directly introduce the earthworms? Best thing is take a polythene bag, ordinary polythene shopping bag. Put this dung which you have purchased, a combination, a random mixing, put it inside the bag. Moist one, not dry, moist. Make it a little bit of moisture and put it inside. Wrap it up, keep it. Keep it for about a day or 2 days. Take it, put your hand inside. If it is warm, that means they have just dried it and given it to you. If it is cool enough, introduce the earthworms. Simple. Now, once the compost is ready, we sieve it. And for sieving, we use this ordinary jalladai. Sieving is not necessary if you are going to use it. You are the farmer, you are producing, please use it as such. Sieving looks beautiful so that when you sell it, the compost looks beautiful. So sieving is not essential if you are going to use it. Please understand, nematode is different, earthworm is different. I happened to visit central India to one of the farms where they were growing beetle leaves, pan. And they had a lot of roundworms into it. And later on, they had used medicines and earthworms had come. They mistook earthworms as roundworms and started killing them. So roundworms are different, earthworms are different. Please understand that. If you are doing vermicompost again, there is a possibility that you will get this friend visiting you. This animal is a planarian, Platyhelminthes group. Its head will have a triangular hood. Please see this carefully. This is how it will come to your farm. This is how it will come to your farm. This is a very nasty fellow because it can trap earthworms and kill earthworms. It sucks on their fluid. Second thing, if you are doing composting, any composting you do, you will get these sort of larvae coming in. If you happen to see this larvae, then please grow poultry along with it. Please grow poultry, because this you can give it to the poultry. No problem at all. No problem. They will eat it happily, or give it to any birds, they will eat it happily. If you allow them to grow, they will grow as rhinoceros beetles. Rhinoceros beetles will attack coconut trees. Is that clear? Any composting you do, that is where these lay the eggs in the compost and you get this sort of larvae. So be careful with it. And in fact, I'm very happy to say that the Department of Rural Development, Panchayat Raj of the Government of Tamil Nadu had taken a very lead thing. In fact, all the Government of India coffee table books on composting and waste management, which you find today circulated by the Government of India, are not the Gujarat model, but they are the Tamil Nadu model, where everything has been started. It's a very simple process. I wish you people also do it with your people. And this is my India, sir. This is my India. Every village I go, the temples throw open the doors for me to talk to the people. It is after my discussion with them, we go and teach them how to do it, demonstration. So please see to it that you continue the good work. Sir, should I construct a tank to do this? Because some people always recommend, you have to put a tank, only then you can do vermicompost. Otherwise not. You can't do composting without a tank. Are bhai, kuch nahi chahiye. I use this old slide, a very old slide by Ranjit. Ranjit is no more. He is a good friend of mine. He was a good friend of mine from Sri Lanka. What we did for him was just to use this, just plant, this twigs and create a basket-like structure. All this was done 20 years back. Now people are using steel meshes and trying to say that it's something unique. Nothing is unique, man. Don't go after people. You are a scientist yourself. Just throw away the fear. Just create this sort of a basket-like structure. whatever dung, especially those who have goats, whatever dung is there, put it inside. Whatever ghas poos hai, put it inside. It will start getting composting. See to it, it is moist. Automatically, the composted material will start falling out. Take the compost, use it for your plants. Sir, we are homemakers. We would like to do something different, and we don't have all these materials. What can I do? Simplest, I will tell you, buy 7 flower pots. It is not necessary you must have flower pots. Any dabba dagara at home, you can use it, right? Call them as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Flower pots have holes at the base. Put little bit of black stones at the base. Sunday's vegetable waste, or normally when you start composting, first learn to do with vegetable waste, because if you use non-vegetarian waste and if you don't do it properly, it starts stinking. So take vegetables, chop them, the waste alone, the peels, chop them, put it at the base. Take little bit of cow dung, dilute in water, sprinkle. Sir, I'm doing it at home. I don't have cow dung. What can I do? Use sour curd, khatta dahi. Very sour curd. Make curd, leave it on the table for 3-4 days. It will become yellow on the top. It has lactobacilli, streptococci, all sorts of bacteria in it. Dilute in water, sprinkle it. Okay? Take little bit of soil, sprinkle on top of it. Sunday over. Monday, do it for Monday pot. Tuesday, do it in Tuesday pot. So you are going to come to the Sunday pot after 7 days. After 7 days. Very good. Add the same way. So in a month, you're going to add 4 times. Once you add 4 times, take a stick and mix the content. Okay? For a small household, it takes normally 3 to 5 months, depending on how much of vegetable waste you use, for all the 7 pots to get filled up. Once they're all filled up, take a stick, fix it again, thoda sa pani, sprinkle on top of it, keep it moist. Another 15-20 days. Each pot now has soil, each pot now has manure, each pot now has a lot of microorganisms. In one pot, you put lady's finger, in one you put bhaingan, in one you put palak, in one you put pudina. Your organic garden is ready in your own house. Simple ho gaya? Do it. Sir, I have land, I have soil. I want to teach some of my people and I want to ask them to get involved into it. Beautiful. Just measure 3 feet on the ground. Roughly, please don't take a scale to measure. Roughly 3 feet. 1.5 feet at the center depth. Take the soil like a kadai, you know, the frying pan, and put the soil on the sides. Okay? It will look like this kadai. Here alone, I require 1 dry cow dung cake, which you can buy from the market, and put it at the base. Because it is a soil, microorganisms will start multiplying fast with the cow dung. Clear? Then you start adding your vegetable peels and other things over there. So yahin pe khaad ban raha hai. If you're going to work with rural population and try to tell them, don't tell them that you are teaching them composting. Tell them that you are teaching them how to grow or how to have a nutrition garden. Because if you tell composting, they are not interested. Nutrition garden for their family, for their children, right? So yahan pe jo hai, it will start getting composting. Now, once it starts getting composting, after about 20-25 days, on the inner side, where do you find the yellow arrow, start planting your palak, spinach, kirai, kothimir, pudina, all those things. On the outer margin, start planting your bhendi, brinjal, tomato. On one side, you are handling all the waste into manure. On the outer side, you are harvesting beautiful vegetables. That's all. That's all. These are all very simple things, very simple things. This is what we have been teaching to all the rural populations over here. It's very simple thing. Please follow it. And if you have an industry, some people have come in the market saying that they can compost in 24 hours. So in case you people have an industry or an institution, they would also approach you. My humble request to you is, those people who come to sell this product, ask them whether they were born in 10 months or whether they were born in 10 minutes. We require 10 months to be born, no? Average. The same way, composting takes around 30 to 40 days. 24 hours is only a volume reduction machine. It is not a composting machine. Please understand this. The byproduct is not compost. It is a byproduct. If you are interested, buy it knowingly, but unknowingly don't buy it as a composter, please. If at all you want to have a digester in 24 hours, I would recommend a beautiful digester. All the vegetable waste you collect from a market, in case you are handling a market, invest in cattle. Cattle can eat all the vegetable peels and give dung in 24 hours. With dung, you can do composting easily, or with dung, you can produce biogas. Whatever your choice is, whatever your choice is. Why I'm trying to talk all this? Some logical explanations, especially to college-going children, because they have the urge to question. Supposing you are going to a picnic, and there's a beautiful pond, and you find fish over there. You're going to stay for 3 days, Raja. You're going to stay for 3 days. You're going to cook and eat, but you don't have a refrigerator, you don't have a fridge, you don't have ice. You happen to see this fish, and suddenly you feel that you want to collect it so that you will take it home after 3 days, and the fish dies. You have to keep it for 3 days. What will you do? I can't bury it in the soil, it will decompose. I can't keep it in water, it will disintegrate. So what do? I add salt to it. If I add salt to it, microorganisms won't multiply on it. So it will not decompose, but it will become a dry fish, which we call it as karwad. That clear, Raja? Understood? So if I add salt, it will become a karwad, dry fish. In the same way, when we keep on adding salt, nitrate is a salt of nitrogen, phosphate is a salt of phosphorus, potash is a salt of potassium, and keep on adding these salts to the soil, my soil is becoming a karwad. On the other side, if I take too much of salt, now after my lecture, when you go and have your dinner, if you have too much of salt in your dinner, what is the first thing you want for? What is the first thing you ask for? Water. Similarly, if you keep on adding salt to your soil demands water. You add organic matter and mulching to your soil maintains water. Humble things. You know about edema? Next time, please understand this concept. This is my normal hand, right hand, left hand. This hand is edema. Edema is swelling. So, yeah. Now, which hand looks beautiful? The hand with the edema looks beautiful. Why should it look beautiful? Because it is red like a tomato and solid like a potato. It looks beautiful. Now, why do we get edema? Salt goes and deposits there. So when the salt deposits, water comes and stays over there. That's why pregnant women, doctor advises you to go for a test for albumin to see how much of salts have deposited when there is the extremity, swellings in the extremities. Clear, Raja? The same thing happens with your vegetables. The more salts you put and grow your vegetables, they look very beautiful and swelled up. You bring them and keep them not in the fridge but on the table. Second or third day, they start decomposing because there's too much of water inside. An organic vegetable, many people have a feeling, doesn't have that luster. That's because it is only substance and there's no much water in it. So you're eating quality food. Please understand these concepts. And those who want to do terrace garden, sometimes I find youngsters, especially Nayi Naveli Bahu Ghar ko aati hai, and that lady comes and says, new bride, Papa, I would like to have my terrace garden. And some elderly member at the home says, no, it is an old terrace, please don't better. The corner walls of the house are load-bearing walls. The last walls of the house are the load-bearing walls. From there, you can have it within 3 feet. If you have a doubt about your terrace, have it within 3 feet. And wherever you find such beams, you can have 3 feet across the beams. Further, to reduce load, make this sort of carts, like with casuarina or bamboo. Ready-made things are available in the market. They are made out of metal, which is heavy again. So you can make it from casuarina or bamboo or any sticks. And you can use grow bags, especially sacks or anything, baskets, whatever you have, you can put it. And to reduce weight, you can also add a little bit of coco peat along with soil. Many people ask me whether I can grow just in coco peat. I normally don't recommend because just coco peat becomes soggy when there is moisture, excess moisture. You can combine coco-pit with soil. The ratio, proportion is all your own experiences. This is my own terrace garden. I'm not going to go into the details of it because I have some more slides for you to complete. I hope you won't mind if I take 5 or 10 minutes more than my granted time. Shamik, I hope so.
Yeah, please. I think you can take a lot more time because this is very engaging. It's very interesting. So take as
This
much
palak,
time as
this
you
is
need, please.
baingan, this brinjal. Anything you can grow, anything you can grow. Don't follow somebody. Don't go mad about it. Don't go and get tensed about it. You see, whatever has to grow will grow. What does not grow does not grow. That's all. Many people ask me, कितनी मिट्टी चाहिए sir? I live in an apartment, sir. I don't have soil. हम लोग को excuse देना बहुत अच्छा होता है. So we always say that, नहीं मिलती sir. To grow pudina, you require only 4 inches of soil. 4 inches of soil is enough to grow pudina. And you know, this I love the best, methi. Methi grows in even small plastic containers which come with sweets. Today it's called as a fashion, microgreens. इसके लिए बहुत पैसा लेते हैं, इसके लिए बहुत पैसे very expensive boxes, ready-made kits are available. Are not necessary, mere bhai. One of my senior most students, Chitra Ramachandran, my first PhD student who completed long ago, she retired as a professor. Now this student, she goes to and teaches people outside into the rural areas where she uses coconut shells to grow this. I think I have some pictures I'll show you. Balconies, you can have combination gardens, especially you people with children. What I try to do is, I try to add up toys along with plants. Surprisingly, I find Pinterest now having it. I started this about 20 years back. Whenever I travel, usually there used to be a competition between my grandchildren and I as to who will use the toy, right? So, you know, like you can combine a combination. You can see here, toys. I have a lot of them with me. Whenever I have time, this is my peaceful pastime for me. You can prepare whatever you want. There is no limit for you, I tell you. Experiment it. Please don't follow anything. You experiment yourself. I have a lot of cacti, I have plants, I have all these combinations, everything with me. This is what is in that coconut shell. This is what Chitra did. Now we have refined it to such a way that simple microgreens in school, you can do it in this way. कर सकते हैं ना? It's very simple, ma. Take 2 coconut shells. That methi is enough. Once in 15 days at home, grown methi, have methi puri or methi chapati. Remember me on that day. Maybe someday you should invite me also. Okay, right? How much water is required for a plant? Now, in case I come to your place and ask for water, you will give me a glass of water. If I say I have to have a bath, you may give me a bucket of water. If I say I must have a swim, you will show me a swimming pool. So a person, I am 6 foot tall and almost 80 kgs. I require only a glass of water. Plants require only moisture, not water. Many of us having home garden, we kill our plants by being more affectionate with them. Something like spoiling our children by being too affectionate. जब भी कुछ मांगते हैं दे दो. So in the same way, keep on giving water. I don't know, thoda सूख गया है. I will add some water to it. It looks dry for me. No. Little bit of stress is required for the plants to grow. Please understand. And if you are using manure or mulching, it can retain a lot of moisture. We have done a lot of experiments on this. All my PhD students have worked on this. So please understand, mulching is very important. Mulch your plants. Please mulch. And those of you who have institutions, industries, factories, you will have a supervisor. And that supervisor's job is to tell the gardener कि बिल्कुल साफ रहना चाहिए. Next time, if your supervisor tells in that way, tell the supervisor, if you tell that, I'm going to strip you. Just like we wear our clothes for production, soil also requires mulch for protection. When the mulch is there, moisture is retained, microorganisms multiply, and your trees automatically grow. We clean the whole thing and we dump chemical fertilizers. Never use chemical fertilizers at home, chemical pesticides at home, not necessary. One more very important thing, very important information. Please listen carefully. Please listen carefully. When I am walking in the rain and I hold the umbrella, water does not fall on my head. It falls around me, around the umbrella. Clear? I don't have an umbrella. I go and stand under the shade of a tree, a big grown tree. I'm going and standing under the shade. 1 or 2 drops may fall on my head, but the remaining falls around the tree. Why should water fall around the tree? Is it a fool? Nature is an excellent teacher. Nature is an excellent teacher. Water falls around the tree because the roots which drink are there. So where should I water and where should I compost? Around the tree. But what we do, we don't water or plant around the tree. What we do is put near the trunk. There itself we are creating a mistake. Please rectify these things. Please understand the concepts. This is what we have been teaching to a lot of farmers, because farmers cannot make individual things. If you have trees on alternative rows, make long trenches, put water over there, put nutrients over there, the tree automatically grows. These are the drylospheres, the circulatory system of the soil created by earthworms. This picture has been created by me. I myself had made the worms make this, and with the help of beeswax and other things, created these designs, based on which I introduced Vermiwash. It was 1982 when I made the first drum. This costed me 200 rupees. So when farmers came at that time, they said 200 rupees, because 1982, 200 rupees was money. We made it in 50 rupees. One small farmer said 50 rupees, we made it in 10 rupees. At that time, this costed me 10 rupees. So it is not the container, it is the content that is important. Prepare it. Unfortunately, a professor again from Bangalore, Karnataka, created another name for this. And so Vermiwash, they started putting compost in water and filtering it. That is compost leachate. That is not Vermiwash. Please understand the difference. All the procedures are in my website. I will give it to you finally, which you can freely download, no problem. This is Panchakavya. He's Dr. Natarajan, who worked a lot on it. Panchakavya is made with the help of cow's 5 magic products, along with sugarcane juice, tender coconut water, and banana. Very simple procedure. You can make it yourself, or it's available in the market. We have done a lot of experiments. I'm not talking about passion. I'm talking to you with lots of scientific experiments. We have used a combination of Panchakavya and Vermiwash, right? And then FEM. Any fruit at home which is overripe, mix with jaggery, add water, leave it for fermentation for 20-25 days or 40 days. You have a beautiful alcohol smell. That means it has microorganisms. Dilute it, spray it. Dilute and spray. Please understand, just because it is organic, you spray concentrated, your leaves will go dark. Please don't. Okay. Fish amino, very good preparation. Very good. Fish waste, collect from market, or if you eat fish, the head portion, the tails, etc., which you don't eat, chop it up, put it with jaggery, ferment it, use it. Similarly, coconut milk with buttermilk gives excellent results, especially for plants which are dropping their buds. Today, bioenzyme is largely spoken about. I myself have not been practicing this to a large extent with my people, because orange and lemon are eaten here in Tamil Nadu only by a selective small group of people. So you take orange peels, 2:1, lemon peels, chop them up, put in jaggery, mix them up, allow it to ferment for about 4 to 6 weeks, strain it. Excellent thing for washing your wash basins, toilet seats, toilet commodes, everything. Sir, I want to do organic gardening. We both are employed. We don't have enough time. We have some good plants like hibiscus and other things. Can you suggest something simple? Take a big bottle. All the banana peels which you eat, put them into it. Once the bottle is half full with banana peels, add water till the full. Close it, shake it, keep it for about 4 or 5 days. Open it, strain, take the water, dilute with water, spray it on your plants. Lovely potassium reaches the soil and the plants. And the banana peels have already become soft. Bury them here and there. And they are beautiful, and the plant grows beautifully. Sir, I have only small flowering pots. I don't want this smell come over there. What can I do? Dry your banana peels. Chop them up or cut them into small thing or shred them. Or put them in the mixie and shred them. After banana peels which you have eaten, dry them in the sun and have it done. And if you eat eggs along at home, take the eggshells, crush them, combine the two, apply them on your plants. You are providing a healthy diet to your plants. Very simple procedures, ma. No, sir, I want something very fast, very fast. In 2 days, I must have a fertilizer. Eggshells, when you break the eggshell, there is a membrane inside. Now, this membrane can give a bad smell if you keep it for a longer time. So you crush the eggshells and slightly roast them in a pan. Roast, ordinary, tawa, yeah, sorry, what do you call it, kadai. Put them in a kadai, just like your groundnut. Just slightly roast them. The inner membrane will dry up and the outer shell will become light yellow in color. Clear? Take the shells, put them in a bottle. It can also be a glass bottle. Fermentation, never use a glass bottle because now bottle will crack because of the gas produced inside. Here you can use any bottle. Put the eggshells into it and add vinegar. How much of vinegar? Now, supposing I'm adding 1 inch of eggshells, see to it that you add vinegar, soaks the entire eggshells and stands another 1 inch on the top. Is that clear? The moment you add it, within 1 minute, maximum 1.5 minutes, it will start bubbling. Because eggshells are calcium carbonate and vinegar is acetic acid. So both of them combined, bubbles come up. In about 24 to 36 hours, all the important elements which are there in the eggshell are released into the liquid. Take the liquid, dilute in water, spray it on your plants. Whatever you want to do, try it on 1 or 2 plants initially, be satisfied, and then you spray it on all the plants. Because different compositions may vary at different times of the year, whether it's eggshell, whether it is banana, all constituents keep changing in nature. So please see to it that you try on 1 or 2 plants and then you extend it to all the plants. Whatever sprays you do, you must do it early morning or late evening, not during the heavy sunlight. Please remember this. You can also use Jiva Amrit of Palekarji. I am not against any system. What I'm trying to tell is, you are a scientist. Don't follow a leader. Don't follow a leader. Follow your thinking. You can use a combination of things. No problem at all. Who is going to ask you? Non-chemical, that's all. Whatever you like, you use. Supposing you have prepared a material and you do not know whether it will work as a good fertilizer or not, I will tell you how to do it. Just take a glass vial, glass container, glass tumbler, or take the small plastic bottles, cut them off. You have the containers. In one, you keep water. In the other one, you keep whatever you have prepared. Supposing you have prepared from the banana and papaya from your house. You don't know whether it's a good fertilizer. Dilute it 10%, put it in one container. Keep an onion on the top. Each one onion. If the onion is small, pass a stick through it. A broomstick and a coconut broomstick. Pass it through it and make it suspend on the bottle. Roots will start growing. The container in which the roots are growing long and thick is a fertilizer. You don't require the government of India or the agriculture department to certify that it is a fertilizer that you're going to use to your home. Is that clear? So you have to do it. You are a scientist. Every individual is a scientist. I am talking to you not out of passion, but because of research. And you would have seen that in almost all my slides, whichever slide I use from my students, their name will be at the base. I always recognize my students. They were all my PhD students. I have produced 20 PhDs. Now, we have been able to see what happens at the xylem level of these plants. We have seen what happens to the chromosomes of these plants. And we have also studied the molecular layers of these components. So please understand that we have enough material with us in our country. Don't get carried away, please. Seeds, small tips to you, Raja. Please understand, seeds, don't go and buy from outside. Your kitchen has at least these 14 varieties at home. Simple. Can you start with it? Mujhe beans lena hai. I don't know where to buy the seeds. They are right in your house. You can start it up. You can start it up, right? And traditional seeds is the old name. Please remember that traditional seeds are today called as heirloom seeds. One small tip over here. If I give you a fruit and ask you to eat, you can easily count the number of seeds in the fruit. But no human being can guess how many fruits will come from each seed. That is nature. You call it nature, you call it God, right? Unfortunately, today in the market, the seeds which are sold in the market are colored with the help of these compounds, neonicotinoids. Neonicotinoids. They're all colored seeds. Be careful if you use these soils. They are fifth generation neurotoxic chemicals. If you are using these seeds, please see to it that you're not going to give it in the hands of children, and you will wash your hands properly whenever you use these seeds. I recommend you not to use them, but in case you use them, you already purchased them from the market, be careful when you use them. Please be careful. We have produced alternatives to it. We teach our farmers to use alternatives. We prepare from termite soil, termite mound soil. And please understand the difference between these two. Hybrid is different, genetically modified organism is different. Hybrid is mango and mango is hybrid, lime is a hybrid, whereas GMO is taking a gene from a totally unrelated organism and incorporating in a different organism. Maybe because we want to play God. Once upon a time, we had farmers' seeds. They are trying to bring the new seed bill. It has been slowly stopped. 2019, the draft was ready, and probably this pandemic has slowed it down. According to which a farmer cannot sell seeds. Seeds have to be sold only by companies. Now, once upon a time, farmers used the seeds, but today we have all seed companies coming in. So seed politics has started. This is genetic modification, where you cut and introduce a gene. This is how we bring them. The plasmid DNA with the DNA fragment, brought it and fixed up with the ligase enzyme. So these are all genetic modifications. For us in India, food is medicine. For us in India, food is medicine. For many overseas people, they require medicine in food. We don't require medicine in food. They wanted to bring in golden rice. Golden rice is a gene modification of rice where carotene pigmented gene from daffodils has been introduced, which will provide vitamin A for our people. Right? We fought against this. Then they brought in BT cotton. BT stands for Bacillus thuringiensis, not for biotechnology. Bacillus thuringiensis. And this was introduced in the name of non-edible crop. You don't eat cotton, right? But you drink cottonseed milk in Madurai and you eat cottonseed halwa in Nagapattinam, Nagaur. And oilseed cakes, oil is extracted and the cake is given to the cows whose milk we drink. So it is edible, but it was introduced as non-edible. Then they wanted to introduce Baingan Raja, BT brinjal, one variety of brinjal for the entire country. One variety of brinjal for the entire country. And please understand, India has more than 60 varieties of brinjal. India has more than 60 varieties of brinjal. In fact, Tamil Nadu alone has 22 varieties of brinjal. And according to the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources of the Government of India, NBPGR, there are 4,460 accessions of brinjal. With so many varieties, we want to compromise. And the Government of India has already permitted trials with genetically modified brinjal varieties on 2nd September 2020. On one side, we talk about celebrate biodiversity. On the other side, we are destroying our biodiversity. Then they wanted to introduce mustard. Here is where I want you people to be careful, the next generation. How long we are going to be talking to people, I do not know. We are quite senior now. So this mustard was introduced in the market not as BT mustard, but as DMH11, Dhara mustard hybrid 11. So many people ask me, sir, it is hybrid. Why do you say no? It is hybrid indeed, but hybrid of genetically modified parent. Please understand. And they have not used BT, Bacillus thuringiensis. They have used Bacillus amelolecufaciens through the Barnes-Barstar technology in Delhi University. So please understand these concepts. So what will happen? There will be a fight between biodiversity and biotechnology. And biodiversity will do all the judo karate, dishum. Biotechnology will tishum it. Maybe you will ask a question to me now. Are you against biotechnology? And say no. I retired as the head of the Department of Biotechnology. Biotechnology per se is a wonderful subject. The tools of biotechnology, recombinant technology, are excellent. These tools are like a knife. With a knife, I can peel potato or kill a person. The choice is with us. The tool is good. Where you apply the tool is very important. Like, for example, insulin is recombinant technology. Excellent thing, but it goes through so many trials. What is the hurry for our country to accept these technologies? The next step of this recombinant technology is RBGH, recombinant bovine growth hormone. This hormone is now going to be introduced into all the rural areas. Now, when you inject this hormone, you can squeeze and take all the milk from the cow. But within about 3 to 3.5 years, the cow will develop mastitis of the udder. And the cow will be sent to a waste house, whatever waste. It will not be used for any purpose. Okay? This is on one side. On the other side, in rural areas where milk cannot be pasteurized, girl children drinking this milk, especially girl children, will attain puberty, maturity at the age of 8 or 9. Their entire hormone system will collapse. I've been talking about this for several years now. People would not accept till this came in the news. The background is in Tamil, but I'll try to tell you in English. Just born female calf. Just born female calf gives milk. Half a liter of milk from a just born calf. Can you imagine? Because of hormones. Now, this is what we have to be very careful. Please understand. I am not against technology, but I am warning on the proper use of technology. Please understand. And many of you will tell me now, sir, I have a farm, all this is okay, but I get pest. If you get a pest, you have the best scientist on your farm. Let me introduce the best scientist on your farm, Professor Goat. A goat can eat all sorts of plants. The plants which a goat does not eat has pest repellent properties. So what you must do is take the goat for a walk. What a goat eats, let it eat. What it does not eat, you take it. What 3 or 4 or 5 varieties of such plants which a goat says, you take it, crush it, put in a pot, add water, ferment it, add cow's urine, spray it. You have a broad spectrum pest repellent ready. You need not ask any professor. Professor Goat is intelligent than any other human professor. Please understand that. Please understand. Especially this plant is called as Ada Toda. The name comes from Tamil. Adu Todadadu. Goat does not touch is Ada Toda. Is that clear? Take these plants. This is how we teach farmers to make them. And once you use them, friendly insects come in. Encourage non-vegetarian insects to come to your farm, because non-vegetarian insects will eat the insects which come to eat your plants. You will get back calotes, you will get back all the animals. We have also developed and standardized one pest repellent. If you want, you can use it. Just using ginger, garlic, asafoetida. Asafoetida is hing, perengayam, hing, along with cow's urine and water, gives me excellent results. We have tried this on the field. Malaysia uses it today in a large quantity today. My only problem is we are fighting among ourselves. Some say permaculture, some say biodynamic farming, some say sustainable farming, some say natural farming, some say organic farming. Arey bhai, forget it. Call it as non-chemical, non-poisonous farming. The roads you take, let it be anything. You trespass the roads. Suppose you're going by the highway, there's a block on the highway. You enter into a side road and don't you go there. Similarly, you take something from organic farming, something from permaculture, something from zero budget. You take whatever you want. It is your farm. You have to live happily. You need not please me and prepare vermicompost or please somebody and prepare something. Is that clear? Every farmer should be a scientist. Please understand. Take home message for food I have been talking about this for nearly about 20 years now. My humble request to you, parents and small children and college-going children, please understand from today, keep the national flag on the dining table. National flag on the dining table. Remind your family about the tricolor. My national flag teaches me more than the national flag. The first color is saffron or orange. See to it that you take some food of that color every day. Let it be carrot or papaya or orange or mango or pumpkin. All this has carotene. We don't need America's golden rice. The second color is white. Especially women folk require calcium. And calcium easiest source is milk. If you are a vegan, take an alternative source. The third color is green. See to it that you take green colored vegetables. They alone have fiber in it, which is very important for our body. Unfortunately, whenever I go to Delhi and ask in a restaurant, "Ke bhai, kya sabzi hai?" He tells me paneer hai sab. I don't know when paneer became a vegetable. Paneer is vegetarian, but not a vegetable. Is that clear? Because many children today want only potato and paneer. Nahi sab, no compromise. The central wheel is blue in color. Right from our childhood, we have been painting water blue. So take sufficient quantity of water. And how many lines in the chakra? 24. 24 hours, follow our national flag. We don't need any food from any part of the world. We don't need. We don't need. Especially this is the school where I studied, my primary, Pondicherry St. Joseph of Cluny. A beautiful school. Now it's a very big school. So I still go there. Whenever I go, the first thing they serve me is the tricolor. And you think that these two will help us? I am not against any food. Once in a way is okay. Don't make it a habit. And homemakers, especially rava with salt is called as upuma. Rava with sugar is called as kesari. Why can't we take a white kesari? What prevents you? Should it be colored? Most of the color that's sold in the market today is not kesar. It is a chemical powder which can cause cancer. So most of us are cooking cancery, not kesari. Can we use carrot juice or beetroot juice or add a little bit of saffron or caramel or turmeric? Please understand, all this colored food, the symbol you find here, the base Pulau Pinang, is the Consumer Association of Malaysia, Consumer Association of Penang. I have been associated with them for the past 22 years. And it's easy for me to work over there to find out all these nuances. So all these so-called red-colored chicken pakodas, red-colored gobi pagodas, be careful, please. These may be called as fast foods, which will enable you to go up fast. So please understand, orange is this color, right? Why is the soft drink red in color, which is an orange juice? Please understand, please understand. So please be creative. What is creativity, sir? Boss plays mirdangam. Madam doesn't like it. So madam breaks it. So what? Should I cry? Not necessary. Convert it into tabla. That is creativity. Let us reworm the world. Let us reworm the world, because today when rain comes, water is not able to infiltrate down. Worms do a wonderful job of creating the circulatory system. And if rains come back, then our subsurface water, the old well waters, can get recharged. Let's bring back the worms. People speak about global warming. I did all my research on global warming. And all those parents who are listening to me, please, parents, don't dream that your child can be successful only if it is a doctor or an engineer or a computer scientist. It is not the degree which makes an individual. It is the passion with which a child learns makes the individual. If you think anything other than this is a disgrace, then you are listening to a disgrace. I'm basically a zoologist. It is not the degree which helps, it's the passion which helps to become what you are in life. So please, this term I have already spoken to you, Vermitech. This term Vermitech, the greatest reward of my research is long back, about 18 years back, was published in textbooks itself. This term was coined by me for the world. The term Vermitech was first used in the world by me. Of course, because I did not patent, some American companies today are using it. But this term was first used by me, and which was transferred. The first cassette was transferred to FAO of the United Nations. That's the reason why FAO still today uses the term vermitech and not vermicompost. Technology applying earthworms, right? So that's the beauty of it. And this was the day for me when Tamil Nadu government service exams asked the question, who coined the term vermitech, Sultan Ismail or MS Swaminathan? That was the day. And the new books which have been formed in 2019 by the government of Tamil Nadu have my work displayed over there. That is achievement. It is not necessary to be a doctor or a computer specialist to be what you are. Anybody can achieve. So parents, please don't force your children to be what they don't want to be, please. And those parents who have small children at home, there's a beautiful book we created. Of course, the book is not available. All the experiments, 100 science experiments we have uploaded, and all for free. You can download this with the help of the Government of India. You can see the logo of the Government of India, Ministry of Science and Technology. I happen to associate with Professor APJ Kalam while doing this, discussing with him on this. And that's the team which produced this. And today, Portugal and other countries are using this. So you can make use of these experiments. To summarize, one old Hindi movie song from Navran. I always love this. Just hardly 3-4 slides. Please bear with me. I love this song a lot from Navrang 1959.
न राजा रहेगा न रानी रहेगी ये दुनिया है फानी और फानी रहेगी न जब एक भी जिंदगानी रहेगी.
So who will tell the story? ये माटी सभी की कहानी कहेगी. Please remember, it's the soil which is going to talk. We spoke about the soil story, but in future, it's the soil which is going to talk. I believe in this beautiful statement by Rabindranath Tagore, that with every child that is born comes a message that God is not yet disappointed with man. And let us leave behind a healthy environment for children who are yet to be born, because our heart, Heart, just rejumble the word, is earth. Heart is where the earth is. So let us support our soil. Let us protect our soil. And to conclude, I love this share. It's an Urdu share. I have also written in Hindi and English, the translations. It's a beautiful share which says, Koi ehsan na karo mujh pe. Koi ehsan na karo mujh pe, to ehsan hoga. Soil is speaking this. Koi ehsan na karo mujh pe, to ehsan hoga. Karna hi ho ehsan, to mujhe jeene do. So let us allow the soil to live. Let us allow the soil. That's our Eyeview, but who cares? All the best to you all. Thanks for this opportunity. Good luck. The first website gives you all the information on composting, vermicomposting, collecting worms, what are the problems faced, and all these liquid fertilizers. The third one will give you the 100 science experiments, and that's my email ID. I'll stop share now. I'm exiting from this. Hopefully, we will discuss a few things before we leave.
Awesome. This was so great. Thank you so much. I think unbelievable session. Really, really like it. You can see all of the chat messages as well. So many people are saying this is the greatest webinar they have ever attended, including a 11-year-old Lord Pradnova as well. So this is great. Thank you so much. And I think I'm looking at a lot of the questions that were asked before the session. I think many of those questions have kind of automatically got answered.
That's the reason I told you, because I'll be answering them here itself. It will be easy for them to understand it. Maybe some of the questions which I have not covered, if you have such questions, I would like to clarify. In case they have.
If anybody has a question, please, you can ask in chat now and we can kind of take that.
You can ask me in chat, or they can unmute and ask.
Sir, namaste. Sir, namaste. I am Prasanna from Tirunindavur near Chennai.
Hey Prasanna, where are you?
Yes, sir. I am Tirunindavur near Chennai.
I'm not able to see you here. Cholunga.
Sir, நான் வீட்ல மாடி தோட்டம் வச்சிருக்கேன் சார்.
சரிங்க.
மேல வந்து நான் வந்து 3x4 1 feet height தொட்டி கட்டி இருக்கேன்.
சரி.
சிமெண்ட்லயே அதுல சாண்ட் ஃபில் பண்ணிட்டு எவ்ரி 6 months ஒன்ஸ் வந்து வீட்ல வந்து அந்த
உங்களுக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் தெரிஞ்சதுன்னா இங்கிலீஷ்ல கேட்டீங்கன்னா இட் will be useful for everybody.
எனக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் ஸ்பீக்கிங் வராது சார், புரிஞ்சுக்குவேன்.
ஓகே அப்பனா பரவாயில்ல. ஓகே ஃபைன். ஓகே
பேச வராது.
சரிங்க.
வெர்ம் கம்போஸ்ட் வச்சிருக்கேன் சார் நான் வீட்ல கீழே.
சரிங்க.
அதுல வந்து வெஜிடபிள்ஸ், ஃப்ரூட்ஸ், லீவ்ஸ், கிரீன் லீவ்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் போட்டு இது இந்த சாணம் இதெல்லாம் போட்டு கோமியம் அதெல்லாம் ஊத்தி வைப்பேன். 3 months ஒன்ஸ் அதை எடுத்து ட்ரை பண்ணி மேல ஃபில் பண்றேன்.
பியூட்டிஃபுல்.
அந்த அதோட மிக்ஸ் பண்ணி நல்லா பண்றேன் நானு. பட் எனக்கு ஒரு டவுட், அதெல்லாம் பண்ண பிறகு இப்போ நான் ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு 3 days பிஃபோர் பண்ணி வச்சேன். அதுல கத்திரிக்காய், தக்காளி எல்லாம் நடுறதுக்கு ஹெவி ரெயின் இப்போ.
ஆமா.
அதுல வந்து மொத்த வாட்டர் அதுல இதுவாகி அந்த தொட்டியில கீழே வெளியே வந்துருது. சோ அது மாதிரி வரும்போது தண்ணியில அந்த விட்டமின்ஸ், மினரல்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்துருமா வெளியே?
இது ஆமா, நியூட்ரியன்ஸ். அதாவது for other participants to understand, he has a big tank constructed on the top in which he fills up materials, leaf litter, everything which has already been soaked in cow's urine and cow dung and other materials, and he loads it up over there so for composting purposes. He says when it rains the whole water is coming out from it. So will the nutrients be lost? Certainly the nutrients will be lost. What you should do is, now is the right time for you to put a small pipe at the outlet. And the வெளியே வருது பாருங்க, அங்க ஒரு பைப் போட்டுட்டு keep a barrel, collect the liquid. அந்த வரத தண்ணி எல்லாம் அதுல பிடிச்சிக்கிங்க. Take that water and dilute with water, spray it on your plants. So fertilizer is over.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So this is Venkat from Bangalore.
Yes, please.
So this is one of the best presentation I ever attended, sir.
Thank you.
I am 42 years old, and I have attended many presentations.
Young man, you are 42 young, not 42 old.
Yes, the 42 year young guy, and I never attended this. I'm in my life I work in a corporate culture, and I've attended numerous amount of presentations, and this is one of the best presentation I ever had.
Okay. And thank you.
And sharing yours, I'm literally emotional. Sharing your wisdom to all of us it's highly remarkable, sir. Wonderful.
Thank you,
I have one question.
Yes,
you told about the 3 types of worms, right? And the epi layer and the middle layer and the bottom layer.
It's a broad classification. In between also there are some varieties, but this is the broad one. The top, the middle, and the bottom.
Yeah, my question is, how much depth the last chef worm will be found?
Normally worms don't go beyond 1 meter. Maximum they go to around some 6 feet. Beyond that, I have not collected worms. There are reports that in some soils they can go deeper, but my personal experience of my own collections, my own field works, I have not been able to collect worms deeper than 6 feet.
Can you give us a range, depth range of all the 3 layers, 3 types?
Normally, the surface worms, Indian worms will go, surface worms, which we call it as epigeic, will be there from the top, on the top itself, till about 6 inches, 7 inches. The second variety goes to a depth of almost 3 feet.
Okay.
The third variety goes beyond 3 feet. It goes till about 4 feet, 4.5 feet. And if the soil is very loose and good enough, then it can go till about 6 feet maximum. I have not seen after 6 feet. Only once, one worm I was able to recover from 6 feet.
Okay, very thank you. Sir, in future, can we contact if you have any doubts?
I have sent you the email. Only thing is, the moment you send, don't ask me for a reply. Sometimes I'll be occupied, nothing else.
Sure, sir. Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Manjunath here. Hello.
Sorry?
Sir.
Your voice is very feeble, pa.
Can you hear me now, sir? No?
Now I can hear you, Manjunath. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Bangalore. Chikbalapur is my farm, actually.
That you need not say at all.
I've seen you.
Bangalore.
No, actually, my farm is in Chikbalapur. I've seen your many videos. The one line I liked this from that video is you said about ugly culture and agriculture.
Yes.
Now most people are doing ugly culture.
Ugly culture, not agriculture.
That was lovely sentence. I still remember you saying that in the other video.
Thank you.
And actually, I have 2 questions, sir. One is what is the best solution for the fruit flies? So fruit flies have been damaging my veggies are like anything. And my second question is seedless is good or not?
Fruit flies, the best thing is your sticky traps. They are the best. The sticky traps are the best for fruit flies. You can attract them with actually with the toddy. Toddy gives a very good response for fruit flies. So you can have toddy as a trap with a.
Toddy means?
Toddy is the local variety of wine. Fermented, any fermented liquid. Kallu, sarayam.
Okay,
Kallu, sarayam. Right. They are very good for it. That's very good.
So actually, Manjunath has a very interesting story. So he's a data scientist turned farmer, right? And he sells some of the vegetables on Farmizon. And it's kind of very interesting because he actually devised a fruit fly trap. So what he does is when he comes to our warehouse to give us vegetables, he takes all the rotten fruits from our warehouse, all the graded out fruits, and he kind of mixes them, ferments them a little, and cuts a bottle into half and puts it into that and tries to hang it across various places.
So fruit flies love fermented material. And by experience, we found that they enjoy toddy instead of fermenting and giving it. So what I try to normally recommend farmers is instead of drinking through this way, use it on your farms.
Okay,
The second one is seedless grapes, created with the help of IAA, there is no problem. They're not genetically modified.
Okay.
They're not genetically modified.
Just not about seedless grapes. Anything which says seedless.
It is actually it loses its purpose. You see, the biological function of any biological organism is to reproduce. Anything hampering over there is mismanaging the production. Any living organism is born to produce the next generation. That's all. That is the job of every living organism. Only human beings, we earn money, we construct houses. Otherwise, as a zoologist, what I was told by my teachers is, every living organism is born to produce the next generation. Once you produce the next generation, your job is over. You can be eliminated by any form, natural selection. Yeah. That is why we got COVID to filter us.
Natural solution. Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. A lovely session. Lovely session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, this is Aditya.
Yes, Aditya.
Question regarding the vermi bed that you showed.
Yeah.
Where you mentioned that a tank kind of thing is not necessary. You can put sticks and fill it.
No. Just a minute. The stick one is for initial composting.
Okay.
Vermicomposting, I showed you a tank.
Oh, I see. Okay. So,
But in fact, I have also done vermicomposting straight on the floor. I don't need a tank.
Okay.
Because, I have been consultant for a major company which has 1,900 heads of cattle in Rajasthan. So for them, I cannot ask them to put up tanks. So I do it on the floor.
Okay.
It is not necessary. If you are able to protect the surrounding with a wall and a mesh, you can do it on the floor, you can do it on the ground, you can even have hollow bricks around, and you can do it. It all depends on the area where you are doing. If you're doing it in an open area, open field, that means rodents may come and eat, snakes can come and eat, and rats, that is where you require a tank. If your whole thing is already protected, you don't require it. So choice is yours. Don't go by a standard model. This is what I have been trying to tell. Many people say, vermicompost karna hai, construct a tank, 30,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees. Buy worms from me, 5,000 rupees. No, not necessary. Not necessary.
Okay.
Any container is also useful.
Okay.
See to it that water doesn't stay inside. If water stays inside, organic matter will decompose. When organic matter decomposes, oxygen level goes down. It becomes anaerobic and the earthworms will die. This is very important for you to remember.
Okay.
Sir, Anantha here. So the cows that you use, do they have to be desi cows or crossbred also is okay?
Maybe you joined us late. I had already said cow is a cow. Not like what the other gentleman has been telling that certain cows are pigs. We have done a lot of research. My students have worked on the dung, their microbial composition. Indian farmer grows even Western cows on by allowing them to graze, gives them oil cakes, gives them husk, gives them all those materials. So the food intake actually helps microorganisms to multiply. In Western countries, it is totally stall feeding. So if it is totally stall feeding, they give feed which has antibiotics, which has hormones, which has everything in it. So that has a bad impact on the microorganisms, and sometimes the dung may be devoid of microorganisms. So if you have a hybrid cow and you are raising it, you are feeding it naturally, then don't worry about it.
I have a question. This is Tushya. I'm 9 years old and this was very lovely.
Hey, what do you mean by 9 years old? You are a very young kid, Raja. Say that I'm a 9-year kid. Say it again.
9-year kid. I grow a rose plant and it's continuously getting aphids. We don't have any ladybugs here, so what should I do?
Yeah, if you get aphids, usually you will also get ants to eat them. The best thing to do with aphids is use your soap solution. Take any soap. If you are purely organic and your family believes in pure organic, buy the soap nut. Use the soap nut, soak it in water, and use that as a spray. If you feel everything is okay, then whatever shampoo or a hand wash soap you use, dilute in water, spray it on your plants, and wherever possible, use your toothbrush. In about 3 or 4 applications, it will start going away.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a question, sir, regarding jackfruit.
Yes, please.
It's getting a fungus-like thing and becomes black when it's very small, and it falls actually. I mean, none of it grows to a bigger size. What could be the reason?
That portion alone, if you don't mind, I would, in the chat box, write a phone number.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I have a wonderful friend, Anup. He is an entomologist and he helps all the people over here. He is advisor for all our groups. Dr. Anup Kumar. I'll just send, I'll put in the chat box for everyone in the meeting. Dr. Anup Kumar, very, very fine gentleman. So you need not worry. Sometimes we find people sometimes are eccentric. We may shout in case our, sorry, I should not put the enter mark. Anyway, Dr. Anup Kumar, his number I'll just put it on 98843 30004 1234. That's Dr. Anup Kumar.
Sir, I have a question. My name is Lakshmi.
Yes, please.
Thanks for this session, sir. But I have a question. I grow some my garden, just a small 3-4 झाड़ घर पे लगाए हैं. तो उसमें I have a pudina plant, and unfortunately I keep getting those black small bugs on it, which keep eating it. That is one thing. And I have a tulsi plant, and last few days, almost a week, I have got a lot of black ants in it in the soil. So these two things majorly for pudina, which I keep getting the black kidas, and black kidas I get on my hibiscus plant also, my kadi patta plant also. So that is one issue, and this black ant. What should I do, sir?
There are 2 things to it. One is you are heavily watering them.
Okay.
Reduce on your water spraying on these plants. Make the soil a bit loose also and dry it up. That itself will help the plant to develop its own resistance. And initially try the simple neem oil. Simple neem oil is, many people what they do is, when I ask them कैसा spray किया आपने, वो बोलते हैं कि सर हमने neem oil लिया, पानी में मिलाया, spray किया. Right from childhood we have been told that oil is insoluble in water.
Okay.
So you take that small quantity of neem oil, add little bit of soap to it. Hand wash soap है ना आपका?
हाँ जी.
हाँ, वो थोड़ा सा डाल के आप अच्छा पेस्ट की तरह बनाइए. It will become white in color. That is, oil becomes ester. Once it becomes the ester, that you dissolve in water and you spray it. Your problem will be solved.
Okay, and what is the proportion of 5 ml neem oil and 5 ml soap?
Oil and soap can be equal quantity, but should be dissolved. For example, if you take 5 ml and 5 ml, you will have to dissolve it in 1 liter of water.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. This is Shriyant from Bangalore. My question is, I've just bought a 3-acre plot which has been farmed with traditional techniques, basically rain-fed crops. How do I start working on the soil to convert my farm or to start an organic farm?
No, what I would advise is, I do not know your conditions, your soils, your the things. You will have to decide as to what you would like to do with your plot, whether you would like to go in for cereals, whether you would like to go in for grains, whether you would like to go in for fruits and vegetables. That decision you have to take. But my simple advice to you would be, initially review some permaculture designs on the net. There are some beautiful permaculture designs which are available. Plan it up according to what would suit your own plant, your own soil, and then you discuss with me. That would be easier for me.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Hi, sir. This is Tushya again. I have another question. Most of our pots are getting lots of red ants, especially in the summer. What should I do?
Then give them some ice cream. Sure, these red ants come because red ants love to come and make their homes in the soil because they have to lay their eggs. So if your soil is slightly clayey and a bit hardly packed up, they would love to come and live in that coolness and produce their eggs. So you loosen the soil, and if possible, you can add a small type of a fungus which you can talk to Anup. Talk to Anup. Anup recommends a type of a fungus. I'm forgetting his name. Mix it up with soil and sprinkle it over there. Ants will automatically go away.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sir, Lakshmi
Good
here
evening,
again.
sir.
once
I'm
again.
Sujat.
Sorry. Just one sec, Ismail sir. Lakshmi here again. वो जो आपने soil loosening का बोला था, black ants के लिए वही रास्ता है क्या?
वही रास्ता है.
Okay, sir.
वो अंडे देने के लिए आते हैं. In case you open your soil, you will find a lot of them inside and small white, plenty of eggs laying over there.
Yes,
It's quite normal in these days when there is heavy moisture.
So खाली पानी कम करना है और loosen करना है.
पानी लूजन कीजिए और होने के बाद थोड़ा सा ही स्प्रे कर दीजिए.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Or if you have a small container beneath your pot, if you have a small container or a pan beneath your pot, उस pan में take 100 grams of mirchi powder, 100 grams of haldi powder, 100 grams of salt.
Okay.
Mirchi, haldi, salt. Dilute it in water, dissolve it in water, and keep it poured into the pan, not into the plant itself. They will stop coming to your pot.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sir, good evening. This is Sumitra Shrikant. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I have a small doubt, sir. I keep hearing, I've heard a lot of your talks, and I hear that earthworms, they are very specific about what kind of food they should be provided. They don't like acidic food. They don't like citrus food. Are these true, sir? Or, is it just...
They are also organisms like us, like we alone go to a restaurant, take up such a big menu card. Why do you order something selective? Because we like it.
So some people give this wrong notion that these guys do not like this and that.
Basically, the food they prefer should be neutral pH range. That is between 6.5 and 7.5. So in case you have more amount of all sorts of food, if you can compost it, and if the material is already reached a pH of around 7, then there is no problem. You can feed them. Avoid one single type of material for them. Just neem leaves, just orange peels, just lemon peels. That they don't like.
Thank you.
जो random बनता है ना, that is okay, Sumitra.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And the fungal thing that you are saying is Pseudomonas. I think you are searching for that.
No, not Pseudomonas. He calls it. It starts with a yum. I don't remember. Microbiology is so tiny for my heavy body that it doesn't enter my head.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good
evening, sir. I'm Sujata here from Bangalore.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a small balcony garden where I like to grow, tomatoes and greens and all that. But whatever, even I make my own compost from kitchen waste and all that. And I buy vermicompost also from the university and I use it. In spite of all that, the yield is very low. I mean, like there'll be just 4 tomatoes or 5 tomatoes. I follow all that, once in 15 days liquid fertilizer. Made out of like the onion peels and then plantain peels, all that also I use, but I'm not getting good yield. And even some flowering plants like this the jade plant, what we call Devakanigale, even that I have, but it doesn't, I mean, hardly once a year it flowers. So that is a problem.
The basic problem is you're overfeeding your plant.
Okay.
It results in indigestion.
Okay.
Don't overfeed your plants. Give them a restricted feed and see to it that you give them in regular installments. Don't overfeed the plant. Too much putting into the plant, into the soil, can create a lot of adverse reactions.
No, but then for tomatoes, once in 15 days, we shouldn't use?
Yeah, but you can loosen the soil. Sometimes soil can also become rigid inside. So loosen the soil from the sides.
Okay.
That should help you. And add some different material. Add a little bit of ash this time along with compost. Good ash.
Okay.
Because elements sometimes can be a micronutrient requirement. So best thing is wood ash or this cow dung upli, that cow dung cake ash. You burn a cow dung, take that ash, mix it with compost and sprinkle it. Probably that will help you.
Okay,
because
sir.
sometimes
Thank you.
one small parameter which can be a nutrient-rich nutrient deficiency can cause this problem. If you are maintaining everything perfectly, one micronutrient deficit can cause this. Yes.
Yeah, even the soil I'm using, like, some sand, soil, everything. It's a loose, porous kind of soil only, not clayey. And
should not be
I
too
keep
porous also for tomato.
I've used coco peat and soil, and I keep adding.
Will keep a lot of water. Coco peat can retain 300% moisture. So use little bit of coco peat.
Okay.
Coco peat can retain moisture.
Hello, sir.
And coco peat has too much of carbon in it. It is only lignin. So your combination should be proper. Yeah.
Hello,
Okay,
sir.
sir. Thank you. It was a very wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, sir. My name is Ramakrishna, sir. Thank you for your session. It's a great session. Sir, I have around 1,000 square yards, and where I'm planning to put some fruit bearing trees. What kind of preparation I need to do before, because that land, nothing is grown from maybe 20, 30 years, because they converted that agricultural land into plots and, left it there. So I'm trying to see if I can plant some fruit trees and all, what kind of preparation?
If you feel, you just try to find out what are the plants which are growing in that area, number one. Whether guava or mango, whichever grows well over there, you decide over that. And after that, if your soil is good enough, you can directly plant. If you have a doubt that your soil may or may not be good, it is better to dig a pit 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. Remove the soil, prepare a soil, take some of that soil, add with compost, add little sand, make the soil composition, and then you feed it and fill it up, your plant will start growing.
Okay, so 2 feet by 2 feet, and then fill it with
2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet.
So this compost,
two.
Yeah, any particular compost or any compost is fine to buy, sir?
Any compost which you feel like. Don't worry about it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
sir.
It is really a great session, sir.
Somebody wants to buy a digital soil pH meter. Why do you want to buy a digital soil pH meter? If you are very particular about scientific research, please buy it. In case you feel it's only for 1 or 2 occasions, you can borrow a pH paper, broad spectrum pH paper from your neighboring school or college. Take a little bit of soil in your hand, add 1 or 2 drops of water, mix it up. Or take a small container. This, like most of these medicines, they come with a plastic cup on the top. Take that plastic cup, in that put little soil and little water, mix it, leave it for some time. The soil will settle down. Take the pH paper, dip it into that water, compare it with the color, you know the pH you are using. That's all. If you're going to do it one time, you better buy pH paper. If you regularly want to use, go in for a pH meter. No problem.
Wouldn't the water pH influence here?
No. We normally use drinking water, and drinking water pH is around 7. Don't use the well water. Your drinking water is around 7. So it doesn't influence.
Good evening, sir. This is Arkesh from Bangalore.
Yes, please.
I have always found that it's an issue that when I have added any compost, suddenly I see an outburst of these tiny white worms that feed on the compost, as well as after a while they start attacking the roots of my plant. So the entire plant ends up dying. So I guess those are called potworms, but I'm not very sure. So is there any way I can, particularly target only those worms and maybe kill them and not
No,
harm the
probably
rest of
you
the
are buying your product from a wrong source.
Okay.
You change your person from whom you are buying, because unless there are eggs of these worms, nematodes, the roundworms, they would hatch irrelevant of, and whatever you do, they will multiply because you are providing them a good environment. So you
Yeah.
better see to it that you remove it and you buy fresh compost from a different source and start using it.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'll do that, sir. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
a very wonderful and informative, very inspiring too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. This is
Somebody has
Anita.
written, Mr. Nataraj Krishnamurthy, thank you. It's fungus Mycohazarium anisophile. Correct. That is the one. Thank you.
Hello, sir. This is
he's
Anita
written
from
here.
Bangalore.
Yes, please.
We have a small kitchen garden, and we grow brinjal, tomatoes, and all. We have been bothered by this mealy bug. How do we tackle it naturally?
Mealy bug is that white one?
White one, yeah.
That is okay, ma. That's not a problem.
Sir,
You
I'm
should feel
Suresh.
happy about it. You know, mealy bugs, when they come, you will also attract ants to it.
Yeah.
Because the ants, what they do is they keep on chasing these fellows to the top of the stem so that they are actually harvesting them.
Okay.
The ants are not coming to eat your plant. The ants are actually chasing these fellows like a sheep, manda, and they all send them to one corner where they force them to lay their eggs, everything, so that they will go and eat them.
Okay. Okay.
It is a colony. The best thing, because it is a small garden, only your kitchen garden, use a toothbrush, rub them off, use soap solution, wipe it out. It will go away about 3 or 4 applications. No problem.
And there is one more type of a bug, which is like a fly, white colored fly, which gets attached itself.
That you must ask Anup.
Okay.
I have written the name of that fungus which he recommends. Mr. Nataraj Krishnamurthy had recommended it, so I had mentioned it.
Okay. Thank you.
He's,
Thank you so
he's
much.
also suggesting Vermicillium lesani. I'm not very familiar with this micro fertilizers, so I think you can ask Anup, or there's one gentleman in the group itself who is familiar with all these terms, Mr. Nataraj. Mr. Nataraj.
Okay. I'll contact him.
Yeah,
Thank
you know,
so
he's
much.
writing that. He's already put out.
Okay. Okay. Great session, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. Thank you very much.
So this garden, so these garden snails are good or bad for the things?
Garden snails depends. If they are small garden snails, then there is no problem. The pila or the bigger ones which come, they will try to scrap away the leaves. If it is Achatina fulica, the great giant African snail, it is very worse. It will eat away all the vegetables.
How do get rid of them?
African snails, you have to only hand pick them and crush them. The other snails, they are sensitive to salt. So their pathways, you can sprinkle salt. That's the only way you can control them. People recommend copper sulfate. I don't recommend copper sulfate. It will spoil your farm.
Just a table salt.
Any salt, table salt or sea salt, anything.
So we can sprinkle on the soil.
Where the path is there, from which they come.
Usually, where do they reside, sir? You know, if you have in the pot.
They are wanderers. They keep moving. They usually come and hide. You see, most of you people, when you spray pest repellents, even if it is organic, you have the habit of spraying from the top. No, your hand should be from the bottom, because pest doesn't come and sit on top of the leaf and say, I am here, kill me. Pest sits beneath the leaf.
Correct.
So next time, whenever you people spray, whether it's neem oil or anything, your hand should be beneath it. If you have a sprayer, if you don't have a sprayer, you better have a bunch of leaves, neem leaves or anything, tie it up, dip it and keep spraying like this from the bottom
to top.
From the bottom. Then it should go.
One
Good
question,
evening, sir.
Padma from
Hello.
Delhi.
We'll just take last 2 questions.
Yeah, ma, because 7:30, I think I should stop. Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, my
Yes.
name is Parvati and I'm from Bangalore.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
recently bought a mango orchard, sir, so I'm trying to go organic and I see like a lot of leaf hoppers there. Is it like, I would be getting in touch with you on the email, maybe because it might take
You
a long
can,
time.
and I will put you on to one Ranganathan, who was the first organic farmer to have an organic shop for Chennai. His son now specializes in these mangoes and plantations.
Okay.
I can also forward his number to you, and you can
Sure,
chat
sir.
with him and have it done. Yeah.
All. Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Sir, Padma from Delhi. Thank you for a wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a pomegranate tree and I get loads of flowers every year.
And they all fall down.
They all fall off or they stay, but they don't fruit.
Yeah. They have a problem with this male and female fruits. And what I was also told, I also faced the same thing with pomegranate plants. So what people say is you got to keep pruning them initially, not allow them to flower, because they are premature flowers which come away. So initially, first time when they flower, we are so anxious. In fact, that's the only flower I love among flowers. So I don't feel like pruning them. And I was told that it should be pruned. I have not tried it after that. So please prune the first coming flowers and allow the tree to mature itself before it blossoms again.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear sir, can I ask you? Yeah, my name is Chaudhary. My name is Chaudhary. I am from Singapore.
Okay, sir.
I just want to give my heartful thanks to you for a great session.
Thank you,
I have no questions. Kindly share your ID so that I can use it or I can pass it to people those who need. Thank you, sir.
I had already put it. I'm also again putting it on the chat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I put it in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
cool. This was such an excellent session. Everybody must already be quite hungry as well. So we need to now start thinking about some nice soil grown dinner. So again, wishing you all happy World Soil Day. And let's just, if we just keep it in mind where our food comes from and who grows our food and the effort that goes behind it, I think that itself will help us take the right decisions. Number one. Number two is, if you are already not gardening, do try to do a little bit of gardening, because that's when you will kind of understand a lot of these things. The recording will be available on the Farmizon YouTube channel. And thank you again so much, Dr. Ismail. I mean, I have heard many of your talks before, but this was amazing, outstanding to hear it real time. So hopefully a lot of people are already sending me private messages saying, can we do another session with sir? So we will talk about that as well. Thank you so much. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
And also, if you can send me the link, I can also forward it to other friends of mine.
I will send you
once
the
you
YouTube
upload
link.
it. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good luck.
Take
And
care.
have a nice evening. Good luck. Take care. Keep safe.
And you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.